Hey everyone, this is my pool plans for DFFOO Global version of the game, featuring the events and banners where Gilgamesh will be a synergy unit. You can refer to the cropped infographic on the left hand side of the slide, which was derived from Jakematt's global forecast to see which events these are. Specifically, this will cover Act 3 Chapter 6.1, Yuri's Intersecting wheel, and Act 3 Chapter 6.2. Quick disclaimer before starting the video, the purpose of this video is really just me sharing my plans for the upcoming banners as well as the thought process behind how I made some of my decisions. Now obviously this is heavily influenced by my playstyle and preferences, the characters I have in my roster, and the amount of gems and tickets I have, so they may or may not be ideal for you. I always recommend and advocate that everyone should be doing their own research so that you can make the best informed decision that fits your playstyle and preferences the best. There are of course multiple approaches to playing this game, and I'll sort of be outlining the reasons why I decide to skip or pull for certain characters. They may make sense for you, or you may disagree with them depending on your own personal plans. But of course, please feel free to also share your plans and thoughts in the comment section in the video. Now first off, before heading off to the Gilgamesh arc, just a quick tally about how much resources I spent during GL's 4th anniversary featuring Garnet LDBT arc as well as Locke's LDBT arc as well. So starting off with Garnet's LDBT arc, it was a great 4th anniversary in my opinion, because the devs really went out their way to not only feature a GL first BT, but also a whole arc centered around the character's burst weapon. And Garnet's burst weapon has really been proven to be quite busted. So I did use tickets when her LDBT debuted. I had her LD already, but I was pulling mainly for Liliset's LD, hoping to score her burst weapon along the way. Happy to say that I did score Garnet's burst weapon after 110 tickets. I didn't get Liliset's LD, but I decided to just skip Liliset after that because I already had Garnet's burst weapon there. Next up, on Alice's rotation, I did spend tickets chasing after Alice, and the main reason for that was I wanted to actually use Alice as an LD call ability. She does provide hefty boosts on the collar, especially when you're going to go into burst mode. So in total, it took me 170 tickets before I scored Alice's LD, which I think is a great outcome. And finally, in that arc, I skipped Lightning's banner because I already had all of Lightning's gear, including her burst weapon. And the devs also featured an early release of Aiko, and I went in hard for Aiko because her LD does have the unique mechanic of being able to heal and even revive anyone whenever they fall below 50% HP. So in total, I had to spend 200 tickets before I scored her LD weapon. Next up, we had Locke's LDBT arc, which sort of just ended on the release of this video. And on that arc, we first had Locke, and I spent 180 tickets chasing after his LD. I wasn't really too fast about Locke's BT weapon because I was pretty happy with my Machina and Garnet, and the pair of them could actually destroy content really. So with Locke, I was just aiming for his LD. One reason was that he could be used as an LD call, and the second is that I wanted to use Locke during the Chaos Challenge in his arc. So I spent 180 tickets before I scored his LD. And if you look at the slide here for the other banners, I just skipped every other banner here because I wasn't interested in Edgar or Purple Limo, and like I mentioned, I wasn't terribly interested in scoring Locke's BT weapon. Very quickly about Bard's banner as well, we did actually see Bard's and Porum being rerun during Purple Limo's event. And this was actually an earlier release. In JP, this banner actually released during Gilgamesh's arc. So I didn't make a slide about it, but I decided to just mention about this banner since it's currently live. I skipped this banner altogether because I already have Bards fully built. My opinion on Bards is that he is actually quite a decent aura bot. If not for Garnet, I would actually recommend pulling for him because his aura bot does actually cover a wide range of buffs to the party, including a very unique Wind, Enchant and Imperil based on his buff and BT aura. So his Imperil works even if the enemies are immune to Imperil debuffs or any debuffs in any case, mainly because it's not based on a debuff. So he has that going for him. Now many people did say that Garnet will replace Bards as the premier aura bot, and I guess that's true, but there are maybe some instances where Bards can shine, especially if you're looking for, say, Imperil Enchant that bypasses Imperil immunity. I maybe would have pulled for Bards if I was missing any of his gear, but because I already have him fully built and he's actually BT plus 3/3, so for that reason I don't need any weapon on this banner and it's an easy skip for me. Alright, so coming to the first two banners in Gilgamesh's arc, and this will be released on Act 3 Chapter 6.1. The first banner will feature the release of Gilgamesh LD and his burst weapon, as well as a rerun of Rosa's LD. And the second banner will rerun Kefka's LDBT as well as Guy's LD. Maybe starting off with Kefka's banner, that's an easy skip for me because I already have all of Kefka's gear, including his burst weapon, so there's really no need for me to pull on that banner. My opinion on Kefka is that he is still one of the best debuffers, and him receiving his C90 will at least boost his damage output to be more in line with the current meta, because that was actually one of his previous weaknesses. If you are in need of a strong debuffer, especially one that can really cripple the enemy's speed, then Kefka may be a good choice for you. For Gilgamesh, I am actually also skipping this banner because I have no interest in Gilgamesh. When I looked at his kit, I saw that his LD does provide a change to his HP attack, but the problem is that it's too gimmicky and random. So the way it works is that when you use his LD, his HP attack changes into one of 4 possible attacks, and which one you get is totally random, so you have a 25% chance, and depending on the 4 attacks that you can get various effects. Really, I think that's a bit too gimmicky, because that means that, you know, when you want a certain effect, you have to rely on RNG. He does have other utility. He can gravity shave, and his EX has also AoE 1 turn delay, so there is some utility going for him, but really I think they made him a jack of all trades but not really specializing in any, and you know, you have characters who can do all the other utility that he brings to the table, and the fact that he has randomness in his kit, to me is really something that I don't really like, so I'll be skipping him altogether. If I did score his burst weapon on one of the later banners, I may come back to this banner just to complete his kit, but I think that really depends if I just get lucky on scoring his burst weapon and if I still have a lot of spare resources by that time. The second event on this banner will be Yuri's Intersecting wheel, and Yuri himself is a DPS unit with some gravity shave utility in his kit, and he does provide some very nice party auras as well tied to his EX overhead. His EX also AoE instant breaks, so if you do need someone that can do that, he does have that going for him. His LD now provides him access to a new powerful HP plus attack variant called Magic Pal Holiga. My thoughts on Yuri, and really this is just based on my opinion, based on what I read. I don't actually play JP version of the game. I feel that, you know, Yuri is pretty decent, but at this point we have quite a lot of other options for DPS character, so I don't really see a big need for Yuri for myself. The second character with LD on this banner is Quistis with her LD, and that's also another reason why I'm skipping, not because Quistis is bad, but because I already have all of Quistis' gear, so I'm only really missing Yuri's LD on this banner. Quistis herself, I actually think, is an underrated unit. She is the best unit in the game in terms of delay utility because she's the only unit that can delay the enemies even if they are immune to turn delays. So she actually pierces turn delay immunity. So she can actually help you to cheese no boss turn quite a number of fights. And the fact that her Degenerator Whip is now instant turn, you can do something like bringing in Quistis in your main party, spamming 6 Degenerator Whips at the start of the fight on her first turn and delaying the enemy by 18 turns, and then just swapping her out for a friend support unit such as Garnet. This allows you to start off the fight with the enemies very significantly delayed. The third event in this arc will be Act 3 Chapter 6.2, and here we will be getting a new unit in the form of Leila. So Leila, I think, is a great unit, especially for myself because I don't have a lot of counter evasion units. So she functions in a way slightly similar to characters such as 8 or Cater, where she does have a 100% evasion. She also has a skill that provides a Locke debuff aura, and because it's an aura, it actually bypasses debuff immunity and even trumps the actual Locke debuff that other characters such as Warrior of Light or Snow can inflict. So her debuff, her lock-on will actually work over the other lock-on debuffs. The good thing about Leila also is that her LD gives her the ability to warp the entire party's turn each time she evades an attack, and all your entire party will also get a free turn during that time. So in essence, if you've played with Noctis before, you'll be familiar with Noctis's warp step buff. Leila functions in a slightly similar way. It just requires her to dodge an attack, but she will then turn manipulate your entire party and allow everyone to act without increasing the turn count once she evades the attack. Overall, I think she's a very strong and solid option, and to me, I'm most looking forward to this unit during this arc. So I'll definitely be going in tickets, hoping to score her LD and EX weapon. On this part of the video, I'll sort of be showing or describing how I would prioritize certain units if I had limited resources in gems, tickets, or ingots. Big disclaimer, of course, that as with all tiering exercises, this is heavily biased on opinion and playstyle preferences, so do take it with a pinch of salt. The way I do it is I sort of divide units into 3 different categories. Units in the good value category are units that provide quite a lot of value and utility, that you likely get a good return of your investment regardless of who you already have in your roster, and generally these are units that I will really prioritize. Role fulfillment category are units that do provide value, but I think that depends a little bit more on your roster because there may be other units that can do very similar things to them, and if you're comfortable having those roles filled already, then you can potentially skip these units. Lastly, in the consolation prize category, so to speak, these are characters who I feel provide relatively the least value out of all the characters in the same arc. Nothing bad about them, they can still be used, it's just that if you have to prioritize, then I think the other units probably will provide more value. So if you did have limited resources in gems, tickets, or ingots, this is generally how I view the characters and which ones I would really prioritize for based on their perceived value. So first up, under good value, I placed Leila here. For me, especially because I actually skipped 8 and Cater, so having a good evasion unit, evasion tank that also has turn manipulation and the pseudo warp step utility, I think is great. She is really good and she can be used all the way up to Shinryu era, and the fact that she has 100% evasion I think is really great because it allows her to dodge a number of attacks, and because she does provide free turns, she should be able to keep your turn count low as well for the rest of your party. Next up, under role fulfillment, there are 3 characters that I placed here, which is Kefka, Bards, and Quistis. Now, nothing bad about these characters, they are actually one of the best in terms of what they actually do. So Kefka is a great debuffer, Buds is one of the best aura bots in the game, and in my opinion would have been the best if not for Garnet being released. And then we also have Quistis being the actual best delayer in the game. To me, it really depends, because while they are pretty good at what they do, they are not the only characters to bring that sort of utility to the table. So if you have, say for example, other great debuffers, there's really no need to go after Kefka. Likewise, if you have Garnet or other strong aura bots and you don't really feel that you need a support aura bot, then I think there's really no need to go after Bards. Quistis, like I said earlier, is an underrated unit. Many people would just prefer to bring DPS and just blitz through the fight, which I guess is also viable. But if you really want to round off your roster with a good unit that can delay, then Quistis is a really good pickup. Lastly, in terms of consolation price, I put Yuri and Gilgamesh here, and I'll start off with Gilgamesh first. It's not very common to see an LDBT on this sort of category. Generally, I will rate LDBT units a bit higher, but like I said, I don't really like Gilgamesh's randomness in terms of his LD converting his HP attack to one of 4 different possible weapons. To me, that's just too gimmicky to be practical, and overall the other utility that he brings to the table is not unique in any sense of the word. Many other characters also bring the same thing, so really there's not a lot of need for Gilgamesh in my opinion. And if you've been playing this game for some amount of time, even you likely already have other characters who can do the same or maybe even better things than what Gilgamesh can do. Yuri, I think, is really just a victim of timing. At this point, in global, we have many fantastic units for DPS, and many of them also carries instant break or gravity shave, so that's also nothing particularly new. So if not for that fact, I would maybe rate Yuri a bit higher, but because of the fact that he doesn't bring anything terribly new or exciting to the table, and we have many recent options that can do the same thing, I think he's more of a consolation prize. That's it for this video. In summary, really, for Gilgamesh's arc, I'm skipping every banner except for Leila, and I'll mainly be using tickets for Leila because I already am at my 999 ticket cap. As always, I hope this video has been helpful, and if you did enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!